Hello guys, I know the confusions that you face at times when you apply for job roles and you see different job titles like Data Analyst, Business Analyst, Data Scientist, Data Engineer. What are all these? And oftentimes you're overwhelmed by their different job roles and job titles, especially if you are considering a career in tech and most precisely in the data careers. I've got it covered, so we'll be discussing the different roles for a data analyst, for a business analyst, for a data engineer, a data scientist. What are their roles, their certifications, what are their salary ranges, what is the tools that they use. In an architectural order, we'll break it down, starting from the job of a data engineer to a data analyst to a data scientist, the business analyst. We break them down and use relatable terms towards what we already know. So I need you to imagine this in your head right now. Imagine someone that in a household where there is someone that goes to the market to buy some foodstuffs, right? I remember back then, among the girls, I used to be the one that go to the market most of the times because I can price very well. So I go to the market, I buy stuffs. Meanwhile, before going to the market, I was given a list, right? Because most of the times I don't know what is needed to buy. So from experience of the girls, they give me the list of things to buy. So I go to the market, I buy these things, and then I bring them at home. Then someone cooks, right? When I bring it at home, someone cooks. After cooking, and then it is served to others. So the way we'll break it down in a way that there is someone that understands the essentials that is needed to go to the market. He understands the very ingredients that is needed. The person knows what is needed in the market. Now, it gives it to someone, which is me. I go to the market and buy those things, set them in order, right? Then there are also some people that, maybe some people we cut the onions, some will cut if there is any cuttable vegetables, right? Some people will cut it, some people will grind the peppers, some will, these are like preparations, all those sort of things, right? Then there is someone that after everything is set and done, the person has expertise. I understand, because the person understands the amount of salt to add to it, the amount of water to add. So the person is the person in essence that cooks. It's not about the person that cuts anything. The person that deals with the pot of food on fire is the person that cooks, because it is the person's experience to know the amount of salt to add, the amount of water to add, when and when not to bring down the pot. That is the person that cooks. Now, after cooking, there is someone sometimes that serves the food, right? That is in some setting. We are combining every setting now. So that kind of setting can be in a setting where there is a maid or something, or maybe servants, that will now have to serve the food to people, right? So there are people that will serve the food, and then there are people that will eat the food. So as we go down in our explanation, we break these things into whose role it is, into whose role is that. Who is a data engineer? Data engineer, this person, just as the name suggests, designs, maintains, and builds the infrastructure or the environment needed for 1. Data generation, storage, and processing. That is the job of this person in particular. Now, in most cases, the skills that are required from these data engineers are usually database management, a little bit of programming, and maybe data modeling. So these are like some skills that are required from them, and some essential certifications for someone venturing into a data engineer. There are a lot of them. There is a Microsoft Azure database. There is Google Certified Data Engineer certification. There is a lot of them, tens of degree. Most of them do have degrees in computer science, information technology. But this day and age, you may not necessarily need to have those degrees. If you can build yourself into these skills in the practical sense and just get some few certifications, you are good to go. So what are the tools for most of these data engineers? They are the gurus in SQL. Their SQL is like their Bible. You have to know your SQL very well. They use also tools like Hadoop, Spark. These are like some of the tools most of them use. Have to master in their job. So if you want to venture into if you want to become a data engineer, proper data engineer, this is the angle you should be facing, which is towards what? Understanding how to build your database, data management, data storage. So these are like what they do, they design. So if I'm to put it in context, right? If I'm to put it in context, they prepare the ingredients that the data analysts will use for their cooking. So if you remember our analogy, so they are the ones that prepare the ingredients. They write the list, they go to the market. This is their job. They get the essential ingredients that are needed for the cooking. So they write the list, they go to the market, they buy these things in quantity that are necessary based on what? The food that is going to be consumed and the quantity. So they consider all these things and they know from the very start. That is why we're starting from them, because in the architectural flow of things, the job starts from them. So they set these things up and then push it over to the data analyst. So who is a data analyst and what does this person do? So where the job of a data engineer in the design of things stops is where that of the data analyst begins. So the ingredients that have been set up, the onions that have been cut, the vegetables that have been cut, everything has been set on the table. Now the data analyst comes in and cooks. So in essence, the data analyst gathers the data, collects the data from the channels that have been built by the data engineer, channels it into what? His own environment, which can be analytical tools like Tableau, Power BI, or Excel, wherever the person chooses to analyze this data. So these data are being channeled to that environment or tool. There is where he processes this data, visualizes them to bring out insights from the data. So this is the main job of a data analyst. The skills required of this data analyst can be just proficiency in knowing some of these data analytical tools. That is why, remember, some of the things we do in our YouTube is basically for a data analyst. That's why we said Excel for data analytics, which in most cases can be the tools, data analytical tools for what? A data analyst. And we have also done previous videos where we explain tools, data analytical tools like Tableau, Power BI, Excel, Python. If you remember, we've done those. So you might want to go to my YouTube channel and look at those tools, but meanwhile we'll still explain it down this video. So this is the data analyst uses those tools to analyze the data in a very beautiful way, visualizes it in a presentable way, which is called what? Dashboard. So all this dashboard, this beautiful dashboard that you see on Tableau, on Power BI, and also, though this time around technically through using Python, because there is a data analyst using Python, but it is a bit technical compared to just someone using data analytical tools, which still embodies everybody as a data analyst. There is a data analyst without a coding ability, and there is a data analyst with a coding ability. All depends on your strengths, your capacity, where you think you can fit in very well. But whichever way you fit in very well, just be so good at it. So data analyst in essence does what? Analyzes data, collects the data, analyzes it, and visualizes it. 3 things: collects the data, analyzes the data, and what? Visualizes it in a dashboard form using analytical tools. So in our analogy as well, this is someone that cooks the food. Everything has been set by the data engineer, so this person comes and then cooks the food. Now it starts to get tricky. There is a thin line between a data analyst and a data scientist. Is it a thin line? Maybe a thick line, but there is just a difference that you should be aware of. Now, a data scientist is more technical than a data analyst, especially by their tools, please, not by how they reason or by their job. Technical just by their tools they use. So a data analyst can just stop at using data analytical tools, Python, Tableau, Excel, visualize the data, and the job is done. Now a data scientist, in the same way, in the same manner, could extend it more by what? Modeling the data. What is, like, when I mean model, I mean training the data for a particular goal, maybe for a prediction problem, or for a classification problem, or for system recommendation. There is a whole lot a data scientist does. That is why if you decide to venture into data science, that means you have to make sure that you have to welcome coding. There is no jumping. You can't jump it, because your job is practically to train data, and you train data with Python or basically. Please, this is a disclaimer. There are now these days data tools, analytical tools that can train data, and Power BI is now trying to put in some training concept in some of their tools and all that. But practically, the training, when we talk of data science, we talk of machine learning, deep learning, AI. This is proper data science, which is what? Training a data using seen data, or using a historical data for what? For a prediction. So let's say a data science uses machine learning abilities to train the data, right? Trains the data to understand the behavior of the data, so that it can use it to be able to predict future. So, not to make it complex, let me break it down furthermore. So a data scientist can be more like a seasoned chef who doesn't just cook anything or ordinary food. The person cooks, but they cook with recipe. They design their cooking. They don't just cook and visualize. They from where the visualization stops, that informs a data scientist of the behavior of the data. Remember, in the architectural flow of things, the data engineer designs, the data analyst analyzes and visualize observations. Then the data scientist, who has learned from the analysis provided by the data analyst, then takes in some observations and then trains the data that has been collected, trains it based on historical trends in that data. So let's take, for instance, credit card fraud detection, credit card default prediction analysis. In healthcare, we can see cancer detection. Yes, these are jobs of data science. They're taking images from cancer images from patients with cancer. They try to train a system or a model to be able to recognize, using image qualities, to be able to recognize signs of cancer. So they can train those images so that the system can be able to, when you now throw in an image, the CT scans that we get from hospitals, when you now throw it into the system can be able to tell that the patient has maybe early signs of cancer or maybe stage whatever signs of cancer. All these things can come as a product of what? Machine learning or deep learning, or this is so in essence, the data scientists use what I call an advanced analytics. That's why I call a data scientist in our analogy to be a seasoned chef, right? So uses advanced analytics to solve a problem. What are their skills, their specialties? Machine learning, I've mentioned it. Deep learning, you have to have skills in machine learning, deep learning. What are the tools that they use? They use tools like Python, TensorFlow, R, PyTorch, APAC, Spark. These are like different tools that they use to train the model. That means you have to know your coding very well, and like I mentioned, you have to have a very strong programming abilities, mathematics, statistics, data modeling. You have to have very high proficiencies in all of these. What are certifications? AWS machine learning is a good example. Degrees can be maybe masters in data science, it can be PhD in computer science, or it requires a very high degree sort of to, in most cases, to be able to be very good in such profession. Who is a business analyst? This person is the bridge that closes the gap between the technical world and the business world. This person brings in what is going on in the technical world, breaks it down, and then feeds it to the business people, those who don't understand what's going on in the technical world. That is the business analyst. In most cases, this person understands the intricacies of the business analysis, of the data analysis, and also of the business requirement. So this person has the business acumen, or understand the business goals, and then also have the ability of what's going on from the data analysis side of things. So this person has superpower. He has the superpower of technical world, understanding data analysis, can be able to speak live into the insights of what's going on the dashboard, and then feed it to the stakeholders. So he in most cases, the person's job is dual, which is the person this person can be able to close in the gap, especially in a place where there is no data analyst, can close in the gap and work as a data analyst, and at the same time understands the business very, very well. So that is a business analyst. A business analyst is someone who the person gets the insights, analyzes the insights from the dashboard, and then breaks it down as to how it relates to the business, to the stakeholders. Because, for instance, in a business where the manager comes in and says, so what's this data saying? A data scientist who doesn't understand the business might not really, in most cases, understand the business goal. So it is a business analyst who understands the business goal, understand the insight that are needed to make a decision in the business, and then this is the person that feeds those insights to the stakeholders. Now, if you notice, you see that there is a lot of combinations and thin lines between all of this, because if you're a very good data analyst, you can as well be a very good business analyst. As much as you deal with the data, you should also understand the business goal of your organization or your company or what you are doing. So you don't just analyze data and then that's it. You need to understand the business goal of your unit, your team, your organization, whichever you are into or however it applies to you, so that it helps you to know how to channel your analysis towards those business goals. Because it is from the insights you provide that the business will use to make a decision. So a good data analyst can as well be a very good business analyst. The same way, vice versa, a good business analyst can as well be a very good data analyst. Their jobs are almost similar. The difference for data analysts in most cases, the data analyst may not even have the business acumen to channel his or her analysis, but a business analyst understands that business, can be able to channel the insights, the analysis towards the business goal. That is, but essential skill a business analyst has is what? Communication. This is the person that can be able to analyze that insight, put it in a presentable manner. Remember, we just talked about communication skills and all that. Put it in a presentable manner, speak live into it so that it makes sense to the end users. It is the business analyst that makes the stakeholders to then take a decision, because it is from the person's analysis that the business understands what the data is all about. So that's why I say their jobs are a little bit intertwined. The same way the job of a data analyst and a data scientist is also a little bit intertwined, because a very good data scientist can as well be a very good data analyst. So see the two sides of things. A business analyst can be a very good data analyst, and a data scientist can also be a very good data analyst, because every data scientist must first of all analyze their data, visualize the observations before they can even start training their model or building their model or training their model. So they have to first of all understand the observations in the data for them to even start building or training the data towards a particular concept. So that is how it flows for all of them. In terms of skills for a business analyst, the most essential skill is what? Analytical skills. You have to have the analytical mind, the analytical skills to be able to break complex concepts into simpler terms for what? End users or for non-tech users. Which also then requires you to have a very strong communication, both written, oral, presentation. These are like your wings to fly in that role. Then certifications can be, few certifications in business analytics can go a long way for you. Or, if you want to have a degree, you can have their degrees in business analysis. Even if it's MBA, business administration. So if you have MBA and want to add a little touch of data analysis to it, you can just do some analytical courses or just build some practical skills and attach to it, and you're good to go for a business analyst. What are that? Their tools are almost similar to that of what a data analyst, which is Excel, Tableau, Power BI, SQL, and all that. These are also some of the skills that they need. So in our analogy, right? In our analogy, so the business analyst is the way it comes out shouldn't be taken low, but in our analysis, the business analyst here is the maid, the servant. This is the person that feeds the food cooked by the analyst to the stakeholders. Stakeholders are those that consume the food. All this whole preparation is for the orgas, the stakeholders, the top managers, the decision makers. All this whole preparation, the cooking, everything is for them. So imagine if the food is cooked and is still in the pot. The stakeholders are there waiting. They still haven't gotten a result because no food is in front of their table. So the job of a business analyst is as important as every other job in the data career, which is what? To serve the insights and explain them to stakeholders, which, like I have said, it's just like your wife cooking food and serving you. So in most cases, the jobs are the same because whoever cooks food can easily serve you. So that's why I say the jobs are a bit intertwined. There you have it. So whether you are interested in the business side of things as a business analyst, or you like crunching numbers as a data analyst, or you like to take it a bit further to build training algorithms like machine learning, AI as a data scientist, or you are the architecture, you like to construct stuff, build the environment for all of this whole thing to start in the first place. As a data engineer, there is a whole lot of things that you can do. All you need to do is just decide on what you want to be and focus. See you guys on my next series.